Hello and welcome to cricketnews.com. My name is Sumedhh Bilgi. We are previewing, of course, the second test between India and England. Well, it was a bolt from the blue, speaking in terms of an India perspective, the result in the first test, something that not a lot of folks expected, but well, it was England that turned out on top, and the results there for all of us to see. And now India, of course, will come out fighting is what the verdict is from everybody. And we'll hear shortly from Sandipan Banerjee as well, who joins me at this point, what he thinks will be, the plan of operation for India in the time to come. Sandipan, well, England, we've given due credit to England, of course, but it's time for India to fight back, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. There is plenty at stake, at this point for Indian team. More than the World Test Championship final, because we all know that if India lose another test in this series, then their final dream will be done and dusted. In fact, they not only have to save themselves from losing another test match, they have to win at least 2 test matches in this series as well. So they need to win at least 2 out of their last 3 test matches. And of course, it's all about reputation, because this Virat Kohli team has made themselves some sort of an invincible side at home. But now England has challenged that reputation. So I guess it will be. Also, personally, Virat also needs to prove a point as well, because he has now lost 4 test matches back to back as a captain. And so pressure is mounting on him as well, especially after the way Ajinkya led in Australia. So pressure is mounting on him as well. So that's why I have said that plenty will be at stake in Chennai starting from Saturday.
Right, 100%. I mean, obviously, we spoke about the World Test Championship. There's been so much focus about that. But just from the series perspective as well, this becomes an important test, because you do not want to be heading into that break that you have after this, and then you move your venues and then you go to Ahmedabad. You do not want to be in a situation where you're 1-0 or the worst scenario, you're 2-0 down in a series. That's something India don't want.
Absolutely. They just don't want to lose against England at home, because England is, if you see in this century, I mean, starting from 2000, England is one team that has challenged India both home and away. England was the last team to beat India in India series. I'm talking about in terms of series. India have lost 4-0 in England. They even they have lost, apart from winning the 2007 series, they have, and drawing the 2002 one. They have lost all the other series in England on English soil. But in hindsight, England have won in India in 2012. And so I guess now it will be, it's some sort of a rivalry. It's some sort of an ego battle between these two superpowers. So I guess, yes, absolutely, they have to find a way out to find a way out. Even if they lose the toss, they need to find a way out to win the test match on home soil.
Yeah, you spoke about home soil, and that will be the number one worrying factor for Virat and co, that they don't play on the same strip again. If it turns out to be a similar strip yet again, well, we know how that test could go if you lose the toss.
Absolutely, but at a venue like Chennai, which is vastly different from from other, probably the North Indian venues or other venues, I think you can expect a similar sort of a pitch. Maybe the pitch will be not as flat as it was on the first 2 days. Maybe there will be something. So we might expect a 4-day finish at this time also. So the pitch you can expect to be more diabolical, more like Nagpur type wicket, because India will play 3 spinners. That is no doubt. And in Chennai, you cannot prepare a pitch where you can play 3 fast bowlers. So basically, India will back their strength, which is spin. And I guess we can expect the pitch to be much more diabolical this time around.
And we're also hearing reports that Akshar is back in training. It seems like he's recovered from that knee injury or the pain that he sustained before the first test. Seems like he'll come in for Shahbaz Nadeem.
Yeah, absolutely. He should definitely come into the team. But my question is whether or not Kuldeep will get a chance. But realistically, if you see, Kuldeep has to play in this team. He's a left arm right spinner. He adds a different variety of in this team, and he has a good record against England, because last time when we toured England, the limited over series, Kuldeep bowled magnificently.
Yeah.
So I guess I think India should play Kuldeep, but the question is, Washington Sundar has
Sundar.
batted well,
Yeah.
but as I have said my review video as well, that Sundar's primary role in this
He's a
team
bowling all-rounder.
is a bowling all rounder, right? But
Mm,
he was not impressive on that front. So
yeah.
can you pick Sundar just based on his batting? Well, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And also Aksar is a handy batsman.
He
So in
is
place of
more than
Nadeem,
handy. Yeah.
yeah, Aksar
Yeah.
is coming in. So you will get that extra security in the
You
batting
have the
lineup.
balance.
So
Mm,
yeah, and Kuldeep is not the worst batsman as well. He can hang around. He has a decent first class record as well. So I
yeah.
guess I guess they, at home soil, if you are still concerned about batting, who will concerned about a batsman at number 8 or number 9 position,
You're not in a good
then I'm
spot.
not. Yeah, then I think it's not the right approach, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that has been the approach of this team from the very beginning. They like to bolster their lower middle order. And by the way, things have gone in the recent past as well, Sandipan, the middle order and the lower middle order have contributed a big chunk of the runs. This was a question that Virat was asked as well in the press conference, that are the top orders leaving a lot for the middle order to do? Will that play a factor at this point of time, Sandipan? Because yeah, a large portion of the runs are being built by your number 6, number 7, number 8. And will that now play a part in selection would be the question. That's how you think Akshar will play.
No. This is just a media narrative, actually, because in the middle of the Australia series, we are talking about lower middle order not contributing enough. Now we are talking about the lower order contributing enough and top order not doing well. So these are all just
Well,
media narratives, very well. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about someone like Ajinkya Rahane not being consistent. He needs to be
yeah,
consistent as well.
yeah,
Someone like Pujara, he needs to stay more at the crease. So, we had quite a few soft dismissals in the first innings.
yeah.
So we should not. We have to. We should be careful this time around. Then I think all is the paradise is not lost. Because
Mhm.
India lost their top. Apart from Pujara, nobody contributed in the top order in the first innings. Still, India batted around 100 overs in the first innings.
Yeah,
So I guess there is enough depth, enough quality, enough ability in this lineup. We need to trust these players. And toss obviously was a big factor on that
oh,
day.
massive.
And you cannot. First 2 days the pitch was nothing was happening from the pitch, and even when the ball started reversing, Ishant also looked very dangerous bowler. Bumrah bowled well. Our spinners did well in the second innings. England were bowled out for 178, which is still the lowest score on the game so far,
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
the series so far. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
I guess they just need to plan, do a bit more homework. They probably need to plan better against Root. He needs to. He's a very good sweeper, and we need to have specific fielder at specific position to counter that shots. And I think if India can bat fast and score around 500 or 450 in the first innings, then I think there will be a very good chance of winning the next test.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm not sure if Virat is a superstitious fellow or not, but before he goes to the toss, he should do everything he can do to ensure that Lady Luck is on his side and he gets the rub of the green to win the toss. It's such a huge factor, isn't it? I mean, the games are getting decided pretty much on the toss these days. Anyway, moving on towards things that we can discuss and debate upon and not rely on luck. England, Sandipan, won't have a lot of worry. Apart from James Anderson, perhaps, who could be rested for Stuart Broad. And of course,
Yeah, that.
Butler will sit out, who's gone back home.
So Butler, they have already sorted that
Yeah,
Butler, Ben Fox will come in. But the question is, England's policy overseas has over the last for the past 2 years has been that one test they will play Broad, one test they will play Anderson. Now the way Anderson bowled in the first in the second innings, now the England pride might be little hesitant to drop Anderson from this game from that match actually. So
That's true.
if I was Joe Root, I wouldn't have dropped Anderson at least for this game. I would have definitely played both Broad and Anderson in the day-night test. But for this game, I would have definitely gone with the same combination.
Yeah, digressing a bit, but in day-night conditions, would you play three seamers with Jofra's reverse swing, or would you drop Jofra?
No, I'll play three seamers.
Ooh, interesting call. Right, sticking to Chennai, we'll go to Ahmedabad later. Let's stick to Chennai. Interestingly, the whole rotation policy for England was criticized before entering the first test. Now that it has worked, the conversation has turned on its head, and everyone's praising England. And there are calls for India to adopt a more robust rotation policy. Which side of this debate are you sitting on, Sandipan?
Look, it depends on the thought process of the team management. England has a different think tank. Their approach towards the test match is different than probably Indian team. India, for them, Anderson is, he's a veteran. He's at the fag end of their career, so he cannot play all the test matches. So their problems are different from ours. We have someone like Bumrah, who is very young. Ishant is only 32. So Ashwin is a spinner. So there is no point rotating Ashwin. He's a good enough,
Number one.
He has proved his mettle both home and away.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we should, their problem and our problems are different. And we should, look from that point of view as well.
Coming back to India, Sandipan, what do you think the main boxes that India would want to tick in this test? Obviously, there were some positives, but there were some areas of concern that India will want to overturn and tick those boxes in the second test. What boxes do you think those would be?
Well, they have to be more compact at the top. Some of our top order batsmen are getting start, but they couldn't capitalize on that. So they should not they should look to play long innings. Toss, obviously you cannot counter. But remember, last time in the last series when India played England, when Karuna got the 300. At that point, India also lost the toss. England scored around 470 or odd. But then India came back and scored 700. So it's not that in Chennai, if you lose the toss, you will lose the game. You just need to play better cricket. If in the first test, if we wouldn't have those soft dismissals at the front, we would have scored maybe 500 or so. And then maybe the game would have been either, gone India's way or maybe it was a draw. But it matters, even Virat Kohli was talking about that if you would have scored 180 or 100 runs more, then you would have maybe yielded 2.5 hours as That's well. Right. And the deficit would have been much more lesser. So these are the marginal, things, we need to look at this point. Toss, obviously, you cannot counter. But what you can counter, you need to control.
Absolutely. Lots of ifs and buts that happen in the press. But remember, when it's on the field, well, it's all about how you react to situations that decide test matches. Like Virat Kohli very rightly said in his post-match presser as well, that you need to adapt and you need to overcome situations. India perhaps did not do that as well as England did. And well, England were on top, but India will be keen to bounce back in this test. Sandipan, any final thoughts before we wrap this preview up?
I think India was a bit reluctant probably in their homework. And also remember, England were playing in Sri Lanka. So I feel they were a bit more, they were acclimatized. They were a bit more prepared than these Indian team, who some of the players have just came back from Australia like 2 weeks back. They didn't have played any warm-up game also in these conditions, because conditions matter, even if you are home team. Yeah. You need to play, you need to be, you need to be acclimatized with the conditions, even if you have played all your cricket on these pitches, throughout your life.
Yeah.
So I guess now in India, I think you can expect India to play better cricket, like we have seen probably in the 2017 series against Australia when we lost the first test in Pune, then came back to win the series. So it is all depends on that. And remember, crowd will be back at the stadium, so that will be a
Mm.
huge morale booster for the team as well, because Indian crowd, especially the Chennai crowd, is known to be very positive, supportive, very passionate
Knowledgeable.
Chennai crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that
absolutely.
crowd factor will come into play as well. So let's hope that we'll get a better performance from this team.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, with this team, we know that they've made it a habit to come back from being 1-0 down. It's something that they've done in the recent past. They've done it in the past as well, and you won't put it past them to do it yet another time in this series as well. Right, Sandipan Banerjee, thank you so much for joining us. A pleasure as always to preview these games with you, and a pleasure on our behalf at Cricket News as well to bring these previews to everyone. Stay tuned to cricketnews.com for more coverage of India versus England.